This photo used to live in the top drawer of my mum's dresser, just a simple snapshot. 5-year-old me, chocolate smeared on my cheek, my grandpa's big hand resting gently on my shoulder. That old, faded kitchen wallpaper, a familiar blur behind us. I swear, if I stared long enough, I could still catch a whiff of vanilla from whatever sweet treat I'd been devouring. But last week I did something wild. I fed every single childhood picture I own, hundreds of them, into a free deepfake engine just to see what it would fix. And tonight, honestly, I can't tell if that vanilla scent is a genuine memory, a true echo from the past, or just pixels that somehow learned how to smell nostalgic. It's a strange feeling, like my own history is suddenly up for debate. Welcome back to Mentor's Mindset. I remember that afternoon so clearly. I dragged 1,847 JPEGs into the uploader, a digital avalanche of my past. Baby teeth, summer camps, that mortifying school play where I was a talking tree, every awkward, joyful and utterly mundane moment captured. The site, with its slick, almost too friendly interface, casually asked for creative liberty, and without a second thought, I clicked max. Why not, right? What could go wrong? Within minutes, it started spitting back versions of my life. My mum's smile was wider, somehow more radiant. Our old golden retriever, Buddy, who'd passed away when I was 10, was suddenly there, vibrant and playful, a perpetual puppy in every shot. The scars I got from that epic bike fall, the one that earned me 6 stitches and a lifetime of storytelling, simply weren't there anymore. At first, it felt like harmless Photoshop, a digital eraser making my past a little shinier, a bit more perfect. A part of me, a deeply human part, wanted to believe these new, improved versions. Then a tiny detail snagged my attention, a barely perceptible shift that sent a shiver down my spine. My dad's watch, a distinctive silver one he wore in a few of the older photos, had vanished from his wrist in the AI-generated versions. It was such a small thing, but it felt wrong. I called him right then, my heart thumping a little faster than it should have been. "Dad," I asked, trying to sound casual, "what watch did you wear in, say, 2002? He paused, a chuckle in his voice, and said, "Son, I've never worn a watch in my life." The phone felt heavy in my hand. I distinctly remembered the cool weight of that metal on my ear when he'd hoisted me up for a hug, the ticking sound, a comforting rhythm. Or I think I do. Now I'm not so sure. That one tiny, fabricated detail cracked open a door to doubt, and suddenly the harmless fun felt a lot less harmless. Psychologists have a name for this unsettling phenomenon: source confusion. It's when your brain stores the emotion of a memory and the actual image or event in different drawers, so to speak. When the image changes, that powerful feeling just latches onto whatever's in front of you, regardless of its authenticity. It's like your emotional hard drive gets remapped, and the new data feels just as real, sometimes even more so than the original. I found myself staring at the new version of my 8th birthday party. The balloon colors had subtly shifted. My cousin, who'd been my best friend that day, was replaced by a kid I didn't recognize, and the bright blue icing on my cake was now a vibrant green. Logically, I knew it was all wrong, but my heart still pumped the same warmth, the same rush of childhood joy. The algorithm hadn't just redrawn pixels, it had, in a terrifyingly efficient way, rewired the very circuit that decides what truth feels like inside me. I caught myself smiling at the fake photo first, a genuine, unbidden smile, and then immediately felt a pang of guilt. The original, the real memory, suddenly looked wrong, somehow imperfect, like it had betrayed me by simply being what it was. It was a bizarre form of emotional distress, a quiet hum of anxiety that my own internal narrative was being tampered with, leaving me to question the very foundation of my identity. The cruelest edit for me was also the most subtle. In the cherished Thanksgiving shot from when I was about 7, Grandma's eyes are suddenly hazel instead of the deep, warm brown I remembered. I only noticed because her obituary, a document I'd reread countless times, specifically mentions deep brown eyes that matched her pumpkin pie. It was a poetic detail that always stuck with me. The AI, I figured, had probably trained on 1,000 hazel-eyed grandmas tagged warm and decided mine should join the club, a statistical average overriding personal truth. I spent an hour flipping between the two photos, zooming in, pixel peeping, desperately trying to prove the real color. My sister walked in, glanced once, and without a hint of irony said,
They've always been Hazel, weirdo.
We argued, a sharp, uncharacteristic spat over something so seemingly trivial, we even Googled her old driver's license photo. Brown, definitely brown, but the seed of doubt was planted. Now we don't bring it up at dinner anymore. It's too uncomfortable, too close to questioning the shared reality of our family, and it's a constant, low-level erosion of trust in our collective memory. It's like a tiny piece of our shared history has been subtly altered, and the effort to correct it feels almost as damaging as the alteration itself. This experience really drove home how easily misinformation can take root, even within the most intimate family circles, simply by challenging a visual memory. I tried breaking the spell, you know? I printed the original photos, actual physical prints, and pinned them to a corkboard above my desk, staring at them until the fakes felt fake again. But instead, a terrifying reversal happened. The originals started to look like cheap copies, somehow less vibrant, less right than the AI's polished versions. Researchers call this the overwriting effect. Each time you recall a memory, you don't just retrieve a static file, you rebuild it. Repeated viewings of the altered photo, even if you know it's fake, subtly nudge that rebuild towards the alteration. It's like a neurological Trojan horse slowly corrupting your internal data. After 5 nights of this mental tug-of-war, I realized I couldn't sketch my childhood backyard from memory without including the giant oak tree the AI had added. There was never an oak. Our neighbor had a single sickly elm, constantly shedding its leaves. I even checked on Street View, a desperate attempt to ground myself in reality. The elm's gone now, replaced by a new development, so now I have 2 competing yards in my head, a real one that no longer exists and a fabricated, prettier one, and absolutely no way to evict the bigger, more impressive tree. It's a constant source of cognitive dissonance, a battle for mental real estate, and it makes you feel like you're losing grip on your own personal narrative. This is the insidious nature of memory distortion, where the artificial starts to feel more concrete than the actual past. It's not just me, apparently. A 2023 study found that just 3 exposures to a fabricated childhood photo can convince 42% of adults that the event actually happened. After 9 exposures, that number jumps to a staggering 68%. Think about that for a second. 3 times. That's all it takes to plant a seed of doubt, to start rewriting someone's personal history. I blew past 9 exposures days ago. Every share, every comparison thumbnail, every before-after swipe I did, even just looking at them to confirm they were fake, it all counted. I became the statistic I planned to report on, a living, breathing testament to how easily our brains can be tricked, how fragile our connection to our own past truly is. The sheer speed at which these false memories took root was terrifying. It wasn't just about a picture, it was about the fundamental erosion of trust in my own brain, a feeling that my internal compass for reality was malfunctioning. This psychological vulnerability is something we rarely consider when casually interacting with AI-generated content. If you've ever wondered which of your stories are truly yours, which memories are solid ground and which are shifting sand, then do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. I'm posting more experiences on our Insta. Tell me which one you trust and why. Seriously, I need help proving I'm not crazy. Drop a comment, let's talk about this. I flew home a few weeks later. The fake photo of my dad and me still burning a hole in my phone. Dad picked me up at the airport, his wrist, as always, bare. I showed him the picture, the one where he's wearing that phantom watch. He squinted at it, then burst out laughing. "You sure that isn't your grandpa?" My other grandpa died before I was born. The AI had apparently stitched together a phantom wrist from some unknown source, borrowed a Timex from who knows where, and my brain, desperate to fill in the gaps, had neatly filed it under "Dad used to wear this." That's when the floor really tilted. If one detail, so utterly insignificant in the grand scheme of things, could evaporate that easily, leaving behind a perfectly convincing substitute, what else was I remembering that was actually scaffolding built on thin air? What other foundational elements of my personal history were simply AI-generated illusions? He hugged me then, his arms metal-free, and I still felt the phantom weight of that watch against my ear. I still feel it. It's a ghost limb of a memory, a constant reminder of how easily our personal truths can be manipulated and how deeply unsettling that can be for our sense of self. It's a profound challenge to identity, leaving you to wonder what parts of your past are genuinely yours. This whole experience forced me to hold up an ethical mirror not just to the technology, but to myself. Consent isn't just for celebrities, is it? Every pixel of my 5-year-old self, every innocent moment got remixed and reimagined without permission from that kid, from today me, from my parents. Yet, the platform's terms of service blandly call it transformative art, conveniently shielded under fair use fan fiction. It's a clever legal dodge, but it feels deeply wrong. Meanwhile, if someone used the exact same technology to fake report cards, or alter college admissions essays, or fabricate evidence in a legal case, officers would rightly call it fraud. The line between art and forgery, it seems, is currently whichever side keeps the lawyers calm and the profits flowing. That should terrify anyone with a baby photo online. And let's be real, that's practically everyone. This isn't just about my personal memories. It's about a fundamental erosion of autonomy and privacy, especially when it comes to our digital selves. The societal implications are massive, touching on issues of misinformation and the potential for cyberbullying, as these tools can easily be weaponized to create damaging or humiliating content without consent. We're navigating a wild west of digital ethics, and the current legal frameworks are woefully unprepared. Now, I've read about the potential upsides, the positive spin that tech evangelists always highlight. Memory care clinics, for instance, are experimenting with deepfakes to rebuild Alzheimer patients' family faces, helping them recognize loved ones. Early trials show calmer patients, fewer night terrors. That's genuinely amazing, truly heartwarming work. But here's the crucial difference. Those doctors curate the input meticulously, secure explicit consent from families, and delete drafts if they're not perfect. My Saturday night curiosity binge had none of those guardrails. It's the same fire that can warm a house or burn it to the ground. Right now, the matches are being handed out for free with every click, no questions asked, no safety instructions included. The ethical guidelines, the transparency, the consent, these aren't optional extras. They're fundamental requirements for responsible AI development. Without them, the potential for harm, for widespread psychological distress, and the erosion of trust far outweighs any perceived convenience or novelty. We need to be far more thoughtful about how we deploy these powerful tools, especially when they touch on something as sacred as our personal memories. I gave myself 1 week to decide. Delete every altered file, banish them from my hard drive forever, or keep them in a folder ominously labeled maybe. Each night I opened that folder, scrolled through the subtly twisted versions of my past, and felt the fake memories root deeper, becoming more intertwined with what I thought was real. On night 6 I selected all, my thumb hovering over the delete key, and then I froze. Researchers call this the sunk cost of self. If I erased them, I'd lose hours of emotional investment, the mental energy I'd spent processing this bizarre new reality. But if I kept them, I risked even more source confusion, further blurring the lines between what was and what wasn't. My brain treated the choice like amputating a finger or keeping gangrene. Both options felt terrible, a lose-lose scenario. The emotional distress was palpable, a genuine mental anguish. I closed the laptop and went to bed, utterly defeated, the weight of those digital memories pressing down on me. The only fix I found, the only way to claw back some semblance of control, is incredibly boring. It's not a magic button or a software update. It's metadata tags, offline backups, and a paper print of every original photo stored safely at my parents' house. I tagged each fake with AI in bright red, then locked the folder behind a password I wrote on paper and hid in a book I haven't opened since college. Out of sight isn't quite out of mind, but at least the next time nostalgia hits, I have to cross a physical room, find a tiny key and type a string of nonsense characters, just enough friction to force me to pause and ask, do I want this version of the past, the one that's been polished and perfected by an algorithm, or the one that survived the first 20 years of my life, imperfections and all? It's a small act of resistance, a deliberate effort to create a barrier between myself and the easily manipulated digital realm, a way to protect my own fragile sense of reality. I started this whole experiment thinking technology would give me a fun what-if slideshow, a harmless peek into an alternate past. Instead, it handed me a hall of mirrors where the exit keeps moving, and my own reflection seems to change without my consent. If your memories feel solid, if you trust what your brain tells you about your own history, enjoy that luxury while it lasts. And maybe, just maybe, print the photos you love most. Ink on paper still beats code on a server when the lights go out, when the algorithms shift, or when you just need something tangible to remind you of what truly was. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Now, drop a comment below with the one memory you'd never ever want an AI to touch. I'll read every reply while I still trust my own typing.